So the book really started with my family. In a genealogical project I was assigned in college, I discovered that they were, like many African Americans, owned by someone as slaves, but not white people. They were owned by Native Americans. And so in researching that story, going back to that history in the 1800s, Oklahoma, which was then known as Indian Territory, I discovered that they really had a life that was different than people enslaved by white people. The kind of most important difference is that upon emancipation, they received land, 40 acres of land specifically.
Now that took you to Oklahoma, as you mentioned, which is also the place where another story unfolded.
So on May 30th, 1921, an elevator operator by the name of Sarah Page, a white woman, and a black teenager named Dick Rowland were in an elevator together. She claimed that she had been assaulted. This was later rescinded. She said that never happened. But at the time, there was anger. And then white Tulsans react. And so their reaction, which is the very violent Tulsa massacre that follows, is really a result of pent-up resentment that these black families in Greenwood have been so successful. So entrepreneurial, often gaining resources and wealth from land that they owned and resources, oil and gas, that were sometimes on that land. So we have a barber shop, we have a movie theater, we have dentists, lawyers, all of these really kind of middle-class African Americans who are creating a life for themselves. There is indiscriminate killing, so white Tulsans kill men, women, and children. They bomb buildings from above, they burn them from below, and so it's really a complete razing of this amazing neighborhood.
Why have we not heard about this? I know growing up I never read about it in class.
Well, there was a concerted effort by the state government, by the local government, to first smear African Americans who were defending themselves and turn it into this idea of a riot, a race riot that we still really have. And then second, there was an erasure. It's something that really allowed textbooks to erase this and not talk about it. People were afraid to talk about it, which then leads to generations not knowing about it at all. The Tulsa Massacre and the way that everyone kind of learned about it all at once through these television shows, I think, is an important sign that there is so much history that we don't know, so much that we haven't told about black entrepreneurship, black community building, but also racial violence in this country. And knowing about it is so important because it tells us a lot about where we live today.
Now back to Roberts and her personal story. She says her ancestors and other African Americans became enslaved by Native American tribes who became slaveholders as a means of assimilating with white Americans economically in the late 1700s.